Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing out there in virtual land really well, just like I am and Anna are doing here in my wonderful office. Looking forward to sharing with you today in this new medium, this very interesting message about how to use this natural innate part of us called curiosity. So, to set the tone, let's just get ourselves comfortable. And I do believe we got some lead in music.
I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love.
And just let go and slowly go within to that secret place of the Most High. And in the calm and in the peace, in stillness and silence, know that all is God and all is good. And we know that this one eternal life that we are all of expresses through each and every one of us uniquely in our own way. And to know that the curiosity and creative nature of the human experience during these troubled times have come together to be able to continue to share our spiritual community and this spiritual message in a unique and special way. So let's just take a few moments in quiet meditation to reflect upon all the goodness that you have received that you didn't think about before because of your experience of this lockdown we're having. And as we focus on what has happened to us in this experience, we see many, many good things that have come out of it. Many new realizations, many opportunities to see ourselves in a different way. And we've also had the opportunity to see those that just don't get it and bless them and forgive them, for they know not what they do. It is our job to be a beacon of light, a beacon of hope, not only for ourselves, but for the people around us, because we are the way showers, because we know the truth, and the truth sets us free. So let us know within ourselves that out of our shared experience virtually and in reality, we receive something very special out of this shared message together. So eagerly, we step forward with an open and receptive mind, knowing with loving thanks that God is good, God is great, so are we, and so it is. Well, so when I first got the mail from Katie, she talked about the theme this month, curiosity. Well, the first thing that popped into my mind, oddly enough, was an old song, and it was an old song, I wonder, wonder, wonder who wrote the book of love. And that was what popped in there because in that song, he talks about his experience of finding out about love, as we all do as we go along and know that there is no definition. It only is an isness that we experience as we unburden ourselves with a lot of the things that we seem to carry in the form of negativity, resentment, worry, and doubt. All of those block the creative flow. So the very word of I wonder creates the natural curiosity instinct within the human experience. We must understand that the nature of the spirit is never dormant. Spirit is always growing and always expanding. A growth and expansion is the very nature of the universe. So when you wonder, that poses a question, and if we focus in on that, we step ourselves into that stream of consciousness called curiosity, and the spirit will give us our answer. That, in my opinion, is one of the most sadly misunderstood and not used quality of the mind. We have the directive, the contemplative. This is the receptive quality of the mind, where we learn to ask questions to seek spiritual guidance from within ourselves and through our experience. Jesus said it really clearly in Matthew's chapter 7, verses 7 and 8. He said, ask and it shall be given to you. He didn't say he didn't say it'll be given to you. He said you got to ask. Then you got to seek and ye shall find. So your natural curiosity has to be looking for the answer, looking for the guidance, looking for the direction, and then knock and the door will be open unto you. It means that we got to take action. Nothing works for us unless we take action. That's where really, when the rubber hits the pavement, that's when things really get going. So that's the threefold nature for success. And he goes on to say, for everyone that asks, he receives. Everyone that seeks, he finds. And everyone knocks, it'll be open unto you. I just recently wrapped up my tenure as a 31-year prof at SAIT under two different terms in between my ministry in Red Deer. And it was a very unique ending because we were on shutdown and the entire last X number of weeks all had to be delivered online, and all the evaluations, the quizzes, the finals have to be redone into a different way. So I put back and I just go, because I understand that if I want to get an answer, I have to operate on the basis of what Dr. Ernest Holmes says in The Science of Mind, that there are no obstructions to the operation of truth. None. No obstructions. Thus, what that means, my job is to ask the question and to be willing to actively make sure that the channel is clear and free of obstructions such as fear, worry, doubt, and any negativity, because that clings and that distorts the focus and it draws to one things that aren't as good as things could be. So by doing that, I was able to redesign and redevelop the last part of the course in a project form, got it all in, got it all done. Everyone out of my 93 students, except for one, passed the course. And I am now officially retired from that to continue on with my spiritual work. But you got to ask, and that's wondering. So I wonder. But on the other hand, there's the other thing that you got to be careful about. my second point. Curiosity killed the cat. So curiosity without discernment can create all kinds of havoc in your life. One of the things that's really good to study and learn is the natural physical laws and the spiritual laws. For example, gravity. Nobody's walked off a building lately to see if gravity's still working, have you? Because we just know there's a law there. Okay? And there are spiritual laws of sowing and reaping. What we focus on, our mind expands upon. And if we put energy into it, it'll bring it to us, whether it's good, bad, or ugly. I always talk to people and say, if you don't look like what you're getting, look at what you're giving, because of circulation and flow. And part of that in everyday life, no matter what it is that we do, is trying to keep that channel clear and to seek guidance from within and allow the natural curiosity of the spirit to take us into a whole lot of marvelous places. Well, I remember my natural curiosity without discernment. Oh, don't you love those stories? And it's true. I was about 10 years old, and I wondered what would happen if I took the bulb out of this small lamp my mother had and just stuck my tongue in the end of it to see what would happen. Now, you and I both know today that isn't a really good thing to do, because we understand the law of electricity and some of the things that can happen because of misuse of the law. Well, guess what? I'm 10. I know everything. So I went and stuck my tongue in the end of that socket. Well, now I got to tell you, I didn't get all the way down to the middle before dark. And about 10 or 15 minutes later, when I got up off the floor, and a couple hours later, when I started to get my mind back, I decided all on my own not to do that again. My curiosity was satisfied. And you know, that's a very important thing about discernment. And it's taught in the Bible with the disciples, each one we teach being a characteristic or trait. So first one called Peter is faith. Then the next two, which were the either side of Jesus, were the two sons of Zebedee, James and John. And John represents love, or the heart. James represents head, and that's judgment, and there's discernment and discrimination. And that doesn't mean the negative part. That means looking at a situation and judging things and discerning things and making some discriminating choices and things like that. So it's a positive thing. And you'll know whenever Jesus went and had the stuff hit the fan and had to retreat and get his stuff together, he always took James and John and Peter with him, his faith, his head, and his heart. And that's what we got to do, because curiosity, your mind is going to go to work on whatever you feed it and whatever you keep letting it do and focus in on. Okay. So we have to use discernment, because we can get into a lot of places that we don't want to go. And that's one of the most important things, that we live in a world governed by law, but curiosity must be tempered with discernment as we move forward. It's the greatest gift we got, and the greatest aspect of joy that we can get if we use it properly. So moving on now to the next idea I want to share here with you is connecting curiosity and the law of attraction. So what you believe, what you are, what you think about, what you activate inside of yourself to move forward, then has to, by the law, draw to yourself circumstances, situations, events, and people that reflect that consciousness that you've developed. And that's how the law of attraction works. The law of attraction is absolutely perfect. Before I made my change for the first 17 years of my life, it was tempered with, crime, violence, and gang activities, addictions, abuse, all of that kind of stuff. And I got to tell you, I was right into all of that stuff, and I attracted all kinds of experiences that were less than desirable. And I wondered why? Why me? Well, that's what I was focused on. That's what I was living. That's what I believed. So why should I be surprised at what I get? And then also that's what I deliver. Okay. So one of the first things when I come in here to this philosophy was learning about the law of attraction and sowing and reaping and how it works. And so I then become to be aware of that. My curiosity was the most valuable tool that I had. However, it had to be directed and tempered with wisdom to find creative solutions to be able to navigate myself out of my former lifestyle into the life I have today, and to navigate through all of the different challenges and experiences that I've had on my journey. Okay, so it's a natural way to work. You can't help but be curious. That's just who and what you are as an individual. Your curiosity could be catastrophic, or it could be unbelievable. So I can say to you, okay, just sit back and you might want to do this, and just to get yourself into a vision. And I want you to imagine yourself taking a nice stroll down a beautiful sidewalk, tree, beautiful spring or summer day. Oh, it's just gorgeous. And then all of a sudden you see down the way a big Doberman pincer. And he's looking at you, and his teeth is bared and frothing at the mouth, growling. And hopefully you looked around and there was nobody else, and you know it was you. And you froze solid. You could see that dog just leaping for you, putting your hand up to protect yourself. You could see him chewing on your arm. Next thing you know, you're on the ambulance onto the way to the hospital, and the doctors then come over you and look over you to fix you up and pronounce you rabid. And you could just go now and see yourself dying and going to the funeral. And then, oh, bring yourself back. Now we were all there, weren't we? And just you opened up your eyes and just noticed that the dog was chained to a tree. Okay. But you could see how powerful the curiosity is when we started talking about that, and where your mind took you, and what you are able to see in your own mind. And you know as well as I do, sometimes you get on trains of thought, you go, thank God nobody else knows what I'm thinking, and thank God I'm not going to entertain this and put any more energy into it, so it doesn't happen. Okay, so the real bottom line there is to remember that again. What Ernest Holmes said: there are no obstructions to the operation of truth, but remember the words out of the Old Testament of our good old buddy Job. Job, he had all the daughters, he had the wealth, he had the wisdom, he had the respect. He was a God-fearing man, everything. But the one thing that Job had was he was afraid. He was afraid he was going to lose this. He was afraid he was going to lose that. He was afraid of this. And fear occupied his mind. And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. And the most famous quote from the Old Testament I really love, and you need to mark this down, Job chapter 3, verse 25. For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come to me. Yeah, it works that way. Because it's just like the gravity or the electricity. The electricity's working today. Look at the virtual stuff and the technology we got. But nobody's out there rushing over to stick their tongue in a socket to see if I was right. Are you? Well, I hope not, please. Okay. So that's part and parcel of it. But it also works the other way. So when I left my formative years, my partner at the time had two daughters. I had one. And one of the things we wanted to have was to have two boys the same age as our girls with fair hair and blue eyes. And of course, with my former career, which still was checkered with a record, I was a very poor candidate for adoption, wouldn't you say? But I had done the work. I had been into this for 3 years and I'd done a lot of work and I changed my life and I was moving forward. I had a long way to go, as we all do. Forever is how it is. And when I started telling people we were going to do this, we took foster parenting courses any way we could. People say, oh, don't get your hopes up because we don't want to see you get hurt. And, everybody said, no, Doug, because of your background, there's no way this is going to happen for you. And the ones that really cared for me were the ones that say, well, we don't want you to get your hopes up. But we focused on that. We believed in that. And we did everything that we knew that we needed to do, plus the things that we come to us as we were guided along the way. And then one day we watched this TV show, news on a TV station that we never watched. We always watched the other one because I knew the broadcaster. And on that show that night, they had this program that they had every week called Wednesday's Child, where special need kids were put up for adoption. And on that show that night were two boys the same age as our girls with fair hair, blue eyes, and one of them had missed his entire first year of school because of cancer. They were 7 and 6. So that would have been two 7-year-olds, two 6-year-olds, and an 8-year-old. So we put in the application and we were really pumped and everybody poo-pooed it. That's why if you're doing something nobody could believe in except for you, don't tell them because you don't need the assistance of the negative energy. And it wasn't where they were being negative to me, where they were just trying to protect us from being hurt. Okay? But anyhow, we got pumped when we got selected for the first round of interviews. And then we told everybody, well, just lucky. Well, we got pumped when we got selected for the second round. Went through that. Then we got really pumped when we were awarded custody of the two boys. And so that was just one of those stories that nobody believed in, but the curiosity and the will to follow it through and to keep the channel clear of the obstructions. Oh, was it easy as saying that? No, it wasn't. You have to work at it, folks. It's something that you have to work at. And in order to do this, we have to remember in our life that we are always part of the problem. We're always part of the solution, and it's our choice. St. Paul in Romans chapters 12:2, he told us how to do it. He said, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, so that you may prove what is good and acceptable and the perfect will of God. So you see, folks, it's a natural part of us. And the wonder is there's no limitations onto the joy and the goodness that we could bring into our life, as long as we're willing to give up focusing in on fear, doubt, negativity, and to let that go into the false nothingness from when it comes, because that's not the truth of our being. We need to just focus in on what we can do, what we can have, and what we are, and move forward with it. So as I know for myself that divine right action takes place in my life, and that there's a gradual, orderly, sequential unfoldment into form of the highest and best that I am, I know that to be so for me. I know that to be so for you. And I give thanks that it's so for all of us. And go forward. God bless. Keep an open and curious mind. Keep a clear, free-flowing channel. And know that God is good. God is great. So are we. And so it is. And thank you and have a great day.